Hi, I'm Kate from dailytarotgirl.com, and I am joined by my friend Dr. Cara Gubbins. Cara Gubbins is a author, intuitive, and coach, and the founder of the Animal Wisdom Circle. And we're going to be doing something a little bit different for this week's weekly reading. So this is going to be a collaborative reading, which I've never done before. So I'm excited, Cara, to, to do this reading with you.
Yeah,
And so I'm going to start by drawing a tarot card and reading that card for the week ahead. And then Kara's going to join me and she's going to choose one of her animal oracle cards. So I just want to say welcome, Kara.
thanks. So happy to be here with you, Kate.
I'm happy to have you. Some of you might remember I interviewed Kara about, I think it was a couple years ago.
A couple years, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm excited to do this collaborative reading. So without much further ado, we'll get started. So I'm going to be reading from the Heart and Hands Tarot, which is a really cool black and white tarot. Just going to shuffle my cards, and my intention with this reading is to get some insight into the week ahead and just get kind of a general overall idea of what the challenges might be, what opportunities might present themselves, and just what the overall energy of the week ahead is going to be like. So I'm just going to cut the deck. Oh, okay. So we've got the Ace of Swords. So hopefully you can see that. So we've got the Ace of Swords. Now, it's funny, I've been drawing a lot of aces lately for my weekly readings, and the aces have to do with new beginnings and fresh starts. And the suit of swords is it's a very mental suit. It's all about the mind, thinking, uh, rational thought, ideas, things like that. So with this card, I get this real sense of fresh energy, especially where ideas are concerned. So I think that we're going to be getting a lot of new ideas this week. This is a good time to really kind of open your mind up and open yourself up to the possibility of new ideas and developing new ways of looking at old situations. So you might find that a problem that you've been struggling with for a long time, you suddenly have a different perspective and a different focus, and you just get this new idea that totally changes things for you. At the same time, you might find yourself being inspired and having all kinds of creative ideas, ideas for books, artwork, projects, things like that. I'm just going to look at this card and see if there's anything else that jumps out at me. I'm really struck by the arrows in this card. So there's arrows right here and they're pointing up to the sky. And I feel like this is a really kind of, it makes me think of that saying, the sky's the limit. So I feel like this card is also about goal setting and setting goals and kind of putting your mind to those goals, putting your mind to it. So I think that this week in particular, particularly at the beginning of the week, you have an increased power to set goals that are going to be goals that stick and goals that you can actually take action on and make work for you in your life. So I think there's that, because I think, like, I don't know, I set goals all the time and I'm always like trying to do things, and sometimes those goals sometimes I reach them, sometimes I'm able to make changes, but I would say like 80 to 90% of the time I forget about it the next day or the next week. So what I'm trying to say is that this week you have this increased enhanced power when it comes to setting goals and actually seeing them through. So that is my reading for this week. So Cara, I will pass it off to you now.
Can I comment on that card too, Kate?
Yes, please do. Yeah.
Because I was so struck by the clouds at the bottom and the hand and the sword rising above. And
Mm-hmm.
to me, it felt like the energy was really like you're rising above the mundane. You're kind of getting closer to
Mm-hmm.
spirit, to the truth, to the higher purpose. Like to me, it felt like this is a really fortuitous time to kind of look beyond, like, oh, I just have to pay the bills, but look beyond into like, what am I really here for? What's it all about? Like, it just, to me, it just looks so much like the sword of truth. And to make those goals, like you were saying, from that place of like, who am I and what's really, really actually important to me? Not what am I supposed to be doing, but what's really calling me? Because it feels like you, like, I felt that energy too of like, it's just drawing you up into something bigger.
Yes, I like that. And yeah, there is that sense of like coming out of the clouds. So like having your head in the
Yeah,
clouds and then kind of emerging from that. Yeah, I
I
like
like you're
that.
kind of above
Yes.
it all.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
cool. Those are cool
Yeah.
cards.
Yeah. Thanks. They are.
All right, so I've got, let's see if I can show these, my Animal Wisdom Oracle cards, and all of these cards, I'll just show you like on the back here. I've got the wolf on the back of the pack. So these cards come from my conversations with different animals. And I ask every animal the same 3 questions. And that's the 3 phrases at the bottom here. So what's your spiritual truth? I don't know, can you even read that? What's your spiritual gift? And do you have a message that you want to share with people? And the cards can be read. Oh, there's my dog Aiko, my sweet
Yeah.
puppy. She passed away like 3-4 years ago.
Uh,
Um, but the cards can be read as a theme, or maybe some part of, maybe some particular phrase will come out, or maybe you'll look at the picture and something will occur to you. So that's kind of, just my intuitive way of reading the cards. I'm not too uptight, like, oh, I have to cover all of this. But, oh, okay, so here's what I pulled. I pulled the quail. And it's really interesting to me because it's very different from the card that you pulled. But what it has in common, and let me just kind of look at it and see where I'm drawn. It made me smile at first because to me the quail is really about having a purpose, doing something from your heart. And with the quail, it's really about devotion to family and community. That's the higher purpose. So it may or may not be that, maybe it's that time this week for, having that devotion. But to me, it feels like when we read it in conjunction with the card that you just pulled, it feels like it's devotion to spirit, it's devotion to self, and it's devotion to your purpose of why are you here. The thing about it too is, and actually it's so funny because this one is really coming, like all 3 of these messages are really speaking to me. So the challenge of the quail is that as the community grows, the individual feels spread out because there's such a strong connection between individuals. And when you think about it's you and me one-on-one, so that's like 50% of the focus on you, 50% on me, and if we added 2 more people, then it'd be 25, 25, 25. And so you start to lose yourself. And so in the context of this coming week, and this whole idea of the energy being really fortuitous for creating a goal that's meaningful, this is the caution. Like, watch out. Don't try to make a million goals because it's a good goal setting time, but really, like, choose the one that's heartfelt and meaningful for you. And then the other interesting thing, I don't know if you can read it or not, but that bottom line is darkness and light. And the message from the quail to people was really about embracing all of it. The shadow side is good. Like for them, shadow means protection and cooler temperatures and comfort because they live in areas where it can get super, super hot, and being out in the sun is, physically really dangerous. But metaphorically, it's also like we don't have to avoid our shadows. We don't have to, only do this thing called spiritual bypass, where it's like, oh no, it's all good. It's got to be for my highest good because it happened, even though it's like pissing me off and I'm really upset, right? Like that's spiritual bypass, but it's really going into like, what is that darkness? What is that shadow? And using that and owning it and really sinking into it. So the quail is, be devoted. I'm sorry, was you looking at it in there? Be devoted to yourself and your mission, your calling. This is a great time to get really clear about who you are and what you're up to and make those goals in service to that higher purpose.
I like that. And it's funny because you said that that card was different than the card that I pulled, but they kind of they go together so well.
Yeah, and
hmm
that's what I like about when you have, I hardly ever pull a single card because I like the story that they tell, how
Yes.
they relate
Yeah.
to each other
Yeah.
and, all that kind of stuff. So to me, nothing happens like out of context. There's no absolute, like the quail is this, but,
hmm
but together they can complement each other and they tell a different story.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's nice. So it feels like this week is about it's about setting goals and kind of getting that focus and not just mundane goals like you said, pay all my bills on time or whatever. Like not just those
Which is a
kinds
good
of
goal.
yeah. But not like when I say goals, like not a to-do list, but like goals that
Right.
have a like what you were saying, more meaning and more purpose to them. And I think that this week is definitely not one of those mundane average weeks in that sense. I think there's a lot of potential to tap into kind of the bigger picture and the bigger purpose of things.
Yeah, and it feels to me like having a vision. Like this would be a good time if you don't have clear vision for what you're going to be doing, where you want to be 5 years down the road, or even by the end of the year. But it's the halfway point of the calendar year, and it's a good time to kind of refresh your vision for who you are and what you're up to.
hmm
And it feels to me more like that kind of an energy
hmm
of like, what's my vision, what's my calling, where am I going, kind of
hmm
a thing.
What kind of things would you recommend for people to help them do that visioning and get that vision about where they want to go? Because I'm kind of in that place right now where I feel like I want to do another kind of I want to sit down and write some things out, kind of figure out, what I want to focus on, what direction I want to go in. And sometimes that can feel like a really overwhelming thing, and I'm not really sure like what to do first.
Yeah, such a great question. I have a couple of things. As you were asking me that question, I realized that I do my best visioning on the couch.
Ah.
And so
Mhm.
I actually go and lie down on the couch.
Mhm.
and and to me that helps me shift out of the left brain should figure it out logical, and it
Mhm.
helps me shift into that right brain intuitive dreamy kind of like what's out there. And so for me, I would go lie down on the couch and put my feet up and stare at the ceiling for a while
Mhm.
and just go, what do I feel like? What do I want?
Mhm.
Um, the other thing that I like to do, and actually I got a million of these. Oh my gosh. This is one of my favorite things actually. So go and daydream. That would be my number one,
Mhm.
because this is such a perfect time. This week is such a perfect time to have that vision.
Mhm.
And that vision, to me, our intellect, our blueprint that our soul gives us when we're born of what we're here to do, that comes, that becomes manifest through what makes us happy. And
Mhm.
so when you daydream about, God, wouldn't it be great to do this or to be like that?
Mhm.
Then that's your soul talking to you through this blueprint.
Mhm.
And to me, it's like playing the hot cold game with the universe, right? Like,
Mhm.
oh, you're getting warmer, you're getting warmer. And
Right.
when you get into that mindset, that open flowing mindset, that's where your intuition can talk to you.
Right.
And for me, when I sit at my computer, it doesn't happen the same way
Yeah.
as when it sits when I'm lying on the couch or, out
Yeah.
at the creek or whatever.
Yeah.
But, a couple of years ago, I went through a real kind of low point in my business,
Mhm.
and I was really dissatisfied, and I didn't logically know why, and
Mhm.
I didn't know what needed to happen. And I can remember I had a three ring binder with just a spiral binder with line paper in it, and I just lay down on the couch and I just wrote down, what do I want to do? What have I ever loved doing?
Mhm.
What within the context of the things I do in my business, what makes me happiest?
Mhm.
And that's where divine beings came from and the animal wisdom circle, because I
Mhm.
gave myself that time to just lie on the couch and daydream.
Mhm. Right. Yeah. It's funny that there's like our culture has such a almost a taboo with like doing nothing and just kind of
Yeah.
letting your mind wander. Yet, um, those are like like whenever I've had my best ideas or when I've made decisions that have led to my life changing in like really positive ways, it's all come from uh, that place of having my mind totally idle. Like, and I find I'll get like ideas when I'm in the shower or the bath. There's something about being
Mhm.
around water too that tends to
And water's good. Yeah.
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 So, but yeah, I mean that's to me that's like one of the most important if when I look back over my life, it's like those moments when I've just been kind of doing nothing that I've had these great ideas and stuff. So so yeah, it's important to make time for daydreaming and letting your mind wander.
Yeah. And the trick is to, sometimes you want to be able to do it on demand, right? Like for
Mhm.
me, if I go and lay down on the couch, it kind of tells my left brain, hey, we're just relaxing,
Mhm.
and just it lets my right brain kind of go. But I also, the same thing happens to me when I doodle, or if I
Mhm.
draw, or if I do a mind map, and just all of those things, any of those things that get you kind of out of your shoulds
Yeah,
are
right.
going to get you into the visioning mode. So if
Yes.
it's dancing or hiking or yoga or running or,
Mhm.
whatever your way of getting out of your own way is,
Mhm.
I guess
Mhm.
that's kind of the key.
That's good. That gives me lots of things to work with now.
Now
Thank
you got
you.
options.
Yeah. Um, so in addition to being a coach and an author and all that, you also have a YouTube channel where you do weekly oracle readings.
Yeah, so I've been doing that for a few months now with the Animal Wisdom Oracle card deck.
Hmm.
And I do a weekly reading and I do a monthly reading. So those are all there, and just, you can find it by Cara Gubbins.
Hmm.
And I'm
Okay.
sure we'll put a link below
Yep.
probably
Oh,
in
yeah,
the
I'll put the
description if
link.
anybody wants to check it out.
Yes. Great. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Kara. And I just want to say thank you to everyone watching. I hope you enjoyed our joint reading, our collaborative reading. So thank you so much for watching, and have an excellent week.
Bye.